So anyway, our next guest is Veronica Brown, and she's an author of a book about aviation. So you're back, Rhonda. You froze.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering why you were looking at me like that, and I
Yeah,
realized you were frozen.
you were froze, and I said, "Well, whoa. I mean, maybe you'll come back."
I know
And
you were looking at me with this weird look, and I was like, why are you looking at me like that?
yeah, it happens. I don't know if I've ever froze. I guess if I freeze it, the whole thing will be messed up. I think I did one time. We had a thunderstorm, and
Right.
but you didn't get disconnected, so I was able to just log back on that one time. Uh, but Veronica Brown has a book called Indisputable, and it's an African American flight attendant's experience. So she's been in the industry for a long time, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what being a flight attendant for years and years in the skies, friendly skies. There used to be, who used to be the friendly skies? That was a tagline for an airline.
Oh, who was
United,
in the sky?
what was it?
It wasn't Southwest.
What? No, was it United? And they're still around, but I don't think they use that tagline anymore.
I'm about
But
to.
you know what I'm talking about. The friendly sky used to be the tagline for an airline. So anyway, Veronica, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Right now, can you move your whatever your device is
It was
to
you.
where it was United? Okay, I thought it was. Fly the friendly skies of United.
I didn't know she was
Anyway,
going to sing Veronica.
wait, can you move your device to where you, because the way it is, you're looking away.
Oh,
You're
okay.
not looking at us.
Okay.
Well, now
So,
you're looking like you're
Looking
staring at us.
straight at us. You're still
okay.
looking to yeah, now you're
Okay.
looking straight.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So um congratulations on your book. And
Thank
I'm
you.
assuming, oh yeah, it is a memoir about your experience. And we had another person on this has been a couple of years ago, I believe. Casey Grant. Are you familiar with her?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
He was one of the first Black flight attendants, if not the first,
I
Mhm.
remember that
in
interview.
planes. And she actually started the International Black Aviation Day.
No, no, I'm familiar with that organization. Yeah.
Okay, she was the
Mhm.
one who, because I think any individual can start a day. I don't know which website you go to,
Right.
because you hear now about Donut Day and all kinds of, you know, cauliflower day,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But she actually registered it as
Okay.
an official day.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Great.
didn't know if you all's paths had crossed, if you all knew
No.
each other.
No.
So
Okay.
what do you want people to know? Why did you call it indisputable first? And what do you
Mhm.
want people to know about being a flight attendant over decades?
Well, become indisputable was about. I wrote the book about my experience at the Foundation of Black American Flight Attendant in 1998. It wasn't many of us out there. Prior to that, I was flying across the country, well, internationally for the United States government. And when I was on the flight, I never saw flight attendants, Black Foundation of Black Flight Attendants at that time.
Hmm.
And I wondered, you know, I knew we were out there, but doing my flying, 8 years of flying, I never would see them on my particular flight. And, but I knew they were out there because I had a cousin that uh, became the first in-flight director at Northwest Airline. And at the time, now,
I
whether she
think
was
they
doing,
merged with somebody.
yes,
Did
they
they
merged
split
with
it?
Delta. They are now Delta.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And but at that time she probably was, I don't know if she's still there, but she had informed us she had got promoted to to a position, something similar to that. And so I knew they were out there. I had a girlfriend that was also African American. She also was out there flying. So I knew they were out there. So when I started flying in 98, after I finished flying across the country for the United States government, I decided, I said, I want to do something different. I want to be home with my son and with my children to grow up. So I felt that that would keep me in the United States and keep me around my children. So I wrote the book after being a flight attendant for so long, and I really experienced what it truly was like to be a flight attendant. I understood that it was kind of difficult. You hear from time to time how kind of difficult it was, but feeling it and being there and being part of it uh, was the engine that allowed me to write about this book. And I felt that others should have been, other people such as myself would know what to expect when you go in for these positions. As a recruiter, I worked for commercial airlines, VIP airlines, as well as charter in the industry. So all the areas of the industry I worked in, so I can, kind of give them an idea, people an idea of what to expect. Believe me, when you come into those open house, it's not a game. It's hundreds of people that you have to get through, and it's not many of us. So I felt that, this would be a great opportunity because people ask me all the time on a regular basis, what it's like, on a daily basis. And so that's what made me write the book. And it's also a history of the beginning of the first flight attendants. It's just don't tell about the actual position, but to talk about the history of flight attendants in aviation.
Okay. Now, what are some things that you uh, can share with the audience in terms of experiences with passengers and co-workers and corporate? And you don't have to say which airline. Uh, I don't want to get you in any trouble. So I know how that can be. So, but just generally talk about your experiences.
Well, my experience right now, I just retired this year.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, congratulations on retiring.
yes, and I thought
You
it was
still
time.
get to keep your flight privileges.
Absolutely. But I kept my flight privileges, and so that was easy. But I didn't keep my flight privileges with the airline I was with. I kept my flight privileges with airline, a larger airline that I was with previously. But my flight attendant experience, for what I can tell, individuals who wants to be a flight attendant with passengers, first of all, you can't wear your feelings on your sleeves. It takes a lot. You have to be very strong. You have to be professional. You have to be very assertive to be a flight attendant. People think it's glamour and all that, and only glamour I write about in the book. When you see the glamour, you let me know because the glamour I know about is when you walk into the gate in the airport.
Well, it used to be considered glamorous back way back
Right,
before black women were actually flight attendants.
right,
The
right,
glamour years, I think, when you look at old movies, where they used to wear little hats and
right.
you know, all of that. Like what's the one? The airport, yeah. It's airport. That one. That was more the glamorous time where the
Yeah, they were
but
those peel hats,
yeah,
peel hat.
yeah.
Yeah, they
So,
were glamour for them, but remember
but
they had
it
money.
used to be more a lot of people may not, well, young people who are younger don't know because I have to tell my daughter this. You used to get a whole meal on a flight as part of just flying, a regular ticket. You got a
Mm.
whole meal. Rhonda, you're muted, so you need to turn your
I
turn.
said, now they just give you those old whack biscotti cookies.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Or
I don't eat
Prestos.
it. I don't want their snacks. I because they're stale and hard and
I
tasteless.
still have those cookies in my. I mean, I might want a snack later on tonight or something, but I don't like those biscotti cookies.
They used to give you a whole meal on
Correct.
planes.
You only get a whole meal on a
On
either
first
international
class.
flight. No, not first class. On an international flight, you'll get a meal. And
Okay.
if it's like, I think if the trip is longer than 5 hours or something like that,
Yeah,
you
it's been
might.
4 to 5 hours or
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be coast to coast, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
They still give meals, like you said, the first class,
First
but
class.
on charter flights, on
Hmm.
charter flights, VIP flights, you're
On
gonna get a
private
whole.
planes and all of that,
Yeah,
yeah.
of
But I
course, you're
mean,
gonna
on
get your whole
commercial,
meal.
your
Right.
average commercial ticket.
Right.
Uh,
But your average commercial ticket, you're correct. You
and
do
people
get
used to
that.
dress on when they would fly too.
Yeah, you know,
The
yes.
passengers used to. It was a thing.
I have
It's
to
a
wear my
big
church
thing.
clothes on the plane.
Yes, now they wear anything. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, for real, anything
Anything.
or little or nothing.
My mother told me I was free because when I was living with my grandmother, I had to wear my church clothes on the plane.
Correct.
Then when I wound up going back to my mom, she said, "You don't need to dress up on the plane," and that was the only thing I needed to hear. After that, it was sweatsuits, but I
That's
did. I
right.
will not wear my pajama pants, and I'm not wearing a bonnet.
Yeah. But
No.
you'd be surprised. I mean, you come on there with the pajamas and
Hmm.
all kind of things, and sometimes we let them fly, and then sometimes we don't. It depends on the airline, what their policies and procedures are. So yeah. So as far as passengers concerned, you do have to be assertive.
Mhm.
You can be professional, but and you can't hold long conversations with everybody because you're on a time frame at all times.
Mhm.
So unless you're in flight, of course, and you finish with your duties and responsibilities. But yes, you have to be assertive quite often. A lot of times, even with children, you remember you have special needs passenger on the plane. You have to consider that. No profanity because people are offended by that. So it's your job to make sure that the cabin is safe for all, not just for, one individual, So you have to be very assertive. And sometimes it's not easy. And a lot of people don't have that fortitude to have that assertiveness or sometimes or professionalism. And remember, you fly in different cultures, so you have to understand the cultures as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's quite a bit.
I don't fly a lot.
Hmm.
I probably fly 3 times a year, something like that.
Hmm.
And I hate turbulence. So, and what helps me with turbulence is alcohol. I'm not a drinker, but when I fly, I get nervous. So, if I don't do it in the airport, then I have to wait until in flight. Uh,
Hmm.
but what one of the measures that I use that everything's cool is how the flight attendants act.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If you
Um,
all are calm, that calms me down.
that's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
Um, and that's part of the job. So even no matter what's going on, if the flight attendant looking kind of nervous, or getting to walk and they looking out the window as much as the passengers looking out the window. Fine.
I always get a window seat. Just well, too, I like to be able to look and see the ground, but also if I go to sleep, I don't have to. I only got one side. I can lean on the wall, and
Yeah.
so I always get a window seat. I don't care where it is on the plane. It could be all the way in the back. I don't care. I always get a window seat.
I'm the same way when I fly, when I'm deadhead, or when I'm flying personal, I'm always try to get a window seat if I possibly can. Yes.
Oh,
So,
okay. That's interesting from a flight attendant's perspective. Now, what did they say? Oh, she said social book club. You know her first name, Rhonda. I can never remember it. But I think it's still glamorous when you all are walking through the airport. I think it is too. I think it's really
I love seeing the flight
the
attendants
crew.
all walking in a group and they're
Yeah,
all matching. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, ladies. And yeah,
They look sharp.
I love the ladies.
yeah,
I always say, okay, ladies, because I love the ladies' outfits. They're very nice. They're well tailored,
right.
especially the foreign flights.
Oh yes, there. This is just my personal opinion. I think the foreigner airlines, uh, non-American airlines, I think their uniform is so much better than our uniform. think they allow. I don't know if they let them have an opinion about the uniform,
Okay.
but they really let them stretch out. On the actual
Right.
uniform, the colors, the outfits, the pieces that they can wear, and I really admire that with those companies. American side, North American side is pretty more regiment. You know, the company pick the uniforms, they pick the pieces, the colors. They try to match the airline colors. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
South
and that's what it's
Africa work in
all
jeans
about.
and tennis shoes.
Oh, somebody asked, what's the best seat on a plane?
The best seat on the plane.
Exit row.
You
Hey,
get more leg
bingo.
room.
That's where
More
More
I
leg
leg
room.
room.
that's
That's
where
the most
Derek
requested.
and I sat and on our flight back here. We sat in the exit row because you have more leg room there.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes, that's the most asked for seat, and even if a lot of times the exit rows is not occupied, and if the exit row isn't occupied, no one bought those seats because now, of course, the extra cost for the exit row seats
Oh, okay.
because of the leg room.
Okay.
And so if they're unoccupied, that's the first thing everybody want to get on the exit row seat, which is normal and understandable. And I don't mind if they get an exit row seat.
So it's
And I
kind of like a little a free upgrade.
upgrade. It really is an upgrade. And some people, even in the first class, they're coming and ask me, "Is the exit row filled? Can I come back there and get an exit row filled?" And I don't mind, if they want to. But I do try to, if I'm working in the back, do try to accommodate those in the back because,
Mhm.
they're back there and
And they're only getting a dry cookie or a peanut.
correct, correct.
Dry.
But you get as much as you could want to drink, as far as a
Ye-
non-alcoholic.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's about more about the passengers. What about co-workers and corporate?
Well, as I was a safety um officer, worked on the safety committee representing the flight attendant for 6 years. And those I represented for the safety committee with the corporate. Um, the committee consists of different areas and department of the aviation in the company. So I was the one that represented the flight attendant. So corporate is not easy to deal with. And yes, I had several offers to be in flight directors, to do this and to that, to come into corporate. But I just wasn't interested because I was familiar with the corporate, you know, area. I don't like the politics of it. I'm not going to throw my people under the bus, you know. And yes, when you get in those meetings, they get pretty heated. Yes, with the corporate officers, and that's fine, but I just won't throw my people under the bus, and I'm there to represent them. I bought the union in at my first charter company. We were the first charter company that had a union, and I bought it in because we needed that. And so I've been there, and that's why I just stayed with the safety committee to represent the flight attendants to make sure they are working in a safe environment and they're not penalized for things they need to do on the spur of the moment to make themselves safety as well as the aircraft and the fellow coworkers as well. So as far as I was so many different things. As a recruiter, I went in when I bought the union, and I had to go into training every year, or every time they had the training new class coming in to let them know how to carry themselves, how to represent themselves. A situation may occur that may not be policy and procedures, but you need to make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, especially when you're new coming in. Because when you're new coming in, you don't have no recourse. So when I come in to try to help you need to make sure you've done the best that you can do to try to follow those policies and procedures so I can stand up for you and fight for you. I'm pretty fair and I try to let them know, that, what the policy and procedure is your first 6 months in out there on the line. I know it's not easy, but I did my best to represent you, keep that job for you if you really want the job, if you want to fight for the position, you know. First thing I want to say to inspiring flight attendants that
Okay, I was
want to
gonna ask
be a
that
flight
question.
attendant.
Mhm.
I will tell you, your first customers is your fellow flight attendants. That is
Okay.
your first customer. You treat your fellow flight attendant as you want to be treated, you know, and that's hard to do. When you get out on the line, you come across all these personalities. Remember, aviation started off with our white community, our white professionals. They
Mhm.
don't want you there. And we have to realize that, face that, and not be ashamed that you're there. Because a lot of young people, our people, Foundation Black America, they come on, what do I do? They want to bow down. They're very fearful. You know, know your job. You have to have confidence in who you are, know what you do when you do it. Because some with same professional people that you s- don't feel secure working with, they're going to tell you to do something wrong. That's why you have to know your job. Why? Because they don't want you out of there.
Right, right.
Because they want to call their brother and their sister or their cousin or whoever else to take that position. You got to keep that in mind. So, most importantly, know your job. And don't be afraid to say, no, I'm good. No, that's not how it goes. Policies and procedures paramount.
Mm. I had one of my choir members is a flight attendant
Hmm.
in my section. I think she's been with it's maybe 8 years, maybe 10. She's been in a while.
Yeah,
She's
it's
with,
it's it's
yeah.
policies. The thing is, when you've been working for quite a while, right, and
Mhm.
you know the policies and procedures. But here's the thing: we got a new CEO coming in, we got a new in-flight director coming in. Now they're getting ready to change that policies and procedures. So now you have to learn things all over again. So
Okay.
policies and procedures change on a regular basis. That's why you have to stay up on your game. You have to stay up on new policies and procedures. And just because policies and procedures was one way today, when you get that new individual coming in those positions and they change it and they get into the manual, now you got to know that. That's why I say it's important for the young people as they're coming in, or people that's just deciding to change careers. Remember, our community is the most women that's being, let go in these positions, government jobs all over, medical positions. So if you decide you want to make a change and come into the industry, keep in mind, whatever you do, going to interviews, you have to follow a specific dress code. You have to know exactly what to say. It doesn't matter your age today because we need professional people out there, believe me. But when you come in, you got to know what you're doing because you got so many people that don't look like us. And remember, those people behind that counter is making the decision
Hmm.
don't look like us. So you need to come in straight and know what you're doing,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it used to be an age limit, or maybe not. I don't know if they actually said it officially, but all of the flight attendants were young. I would say under 40 for sure. But in more recent years, people are spending decades as flight attendants.
Oh, you would not believe how old I was. Every day when you go into the airport and you see flight attendants been there for years and years, and I mean they barely pulling a roller bag behind them, and people always ask, are you gonna be tired soon? Are you gonna be retired soon? Because there is no age limit. You don't know what lives what's going on in people's lives as well. But
So
yes, it used to be an age limit. Once you turn,
they
I
had
think that,
young and pretty, basically.
I'm sorry.
And so I'm thinking back, a long time ago, the rule was they had to be young and they had to be pretty. There was one of like secretaries had to be young and pretty.
Yep, and a
Um,
certain weight and a certain height.
yep.
Yes. Mhm.
Wait,
And once you turn, I think the age was 31 or 36 or something in there, you had to quit. And I have that. It's in my book, The History of Flight Attendant. It's just the history of flight attendant, but then I go on into the black, when we first came into the aviation industry. But at the same time, yes, there was an age limit, but yet there was no age limit for the pilots.
Right.
You
Right. Well,
see,
I think that didn't they have to retire at 60 or 62 or
today,
something like
yes, they do. Yeah.
that.
But back
But
then,
not at 35.
not like that.
But I think
Exactly.
back then the mores were that, women would get married and have kids, and so they wouldn't be doing that. It was kind of cultural for for the times back then.
Exactly,
Mm,
exactly. And then you couldn't have children. When they first started flight attendant, you couldn't have any children. And they prefer you not to be married. And so when you get married, you have to quit. There was no if, ands, or buts about it. But the husband, if he's a pilot, he don't have to quit. So
mm,
of course that went to court. The EEOC was formed at that time. So they fought for that. The
oh,
flight attendant fought for that.
okay.
So then the age limit. That's when the age limit. They went to court about that because women wasn't ready to quit.
Mm.
But yet the men could stay on, and that's not right.
Now, someone asked, because we've got a couple of minutes left. Someone
Mhm.
asked, she said, she didn't know if she missed it, but what inspired you to write the book?
Um, my decade of flying, I wanted people, my community, most importantly, to understand what it really feel like to work in that field, what it takes to go in to get the position as well, and it's important to know that it's professionalism, it's identity, it's resilience, it's representation. 35,000 feet in the air. And that is the most important thing I want to remind people to know about. You don't have to be afraid to say, oh, what does it take to be a fighter attendant? It takes just like you go to school to be a nurse or you anything else in the professional field. Just go and present yourself as a professional, dress as a professional, answer the question when asked as a professional. You get a job just like anyone else. You're no different from anyone else. Matter of fact, you're much smarter when you relax.
I like that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Well,
You are
I think about sometimes the just when you think about it from an intellectual standpoint, and sometimes I do when I'm sitting there in the air, I say the only thing keeping us up here are two engines or four engines or whatever, and the grace of God. That's and it's amazing. 100 years ago, people couldn't fly. I think they just were starting, but it was like in this infancy stage, and now it's it's something that we take for granted, and it's advanced, and in some ways it's advanced, but it's almost like the Greyhound bus used to be.
Right,
In the
right,
sky. It
right.
used to be like an upscale thing. Now it's more like uh they
A
herd
train
them
ride.
in. Yeah. They herd them in and get them out.
Right.
Well, Veronica, we're at the end of our time.
Okay.
Congratulations on your book, Indisputable.
Thank
And,
you.
you retired now, but congratulations on having those flight benefits. I know that that's one of the real they don't a lot of the jobs aren't that high paying in the airline industry, but those flight benefits really make a difference. And I
It makes
say
a
that
difference.
because my first husband worked for Continental at the time, and that's
Oh,
probably the best thing that I got out of the marriage. Anyway,
right.
that's it was the marriage was terrible, but the flight benefits were great. Anyway,
Great. Fantastic. Exactly.
so
Congratulations to you.
yeah, I got it. It was short, but I was able to go home at least, for $10. That's what it used to be back then.
Yes,
10.
yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So anyway, take care. Thanks for being on the show and congrats on the book.
Thank you. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you for having me.
You're
thank you.
welcome.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.